Yes, good morning to you all and welcome to Liepaja, especially you who made the effort actually to come here, but also welcome to you who are watching online. You're missing out a great day here in Liepaja by the Baltic coast, but hopefully next time you could make it. Today we have the annual investor meeting for ELG. Last time we were in Felina in Mannheim, and today we thought we're gonna of course talk a little bit about the company initiatives, both challenges and opportunities in the future, but also to go a little bit deeper with Lauma. So Edis will talk a little bit more, who is the managing director of Lauma here, what we're actually doing here in Lauma and Liepaja. Most of you have actually seen and heard from ELG for some time. So I will not go too deep into the group and the group structure, what we're doing, but I will take a brief overview for you who are new. And another detail, if anyone have questions online or here presently, please ask them and I will try to answer them in the directly here. And if you have questions online, just submit them on email and we will see them here on the screen, and I will try to answer them, or Diana or Edis in the meantime. If you look at the group in general, the development is quite stable. We are still, we're roughly 1,337 employees based on 6 months. We are distributed in 46 countries. We have 5,000 points of sales for especially our brands, and we're working with 6 brands. Most importantly to notice from this picture is actually, if you look to where is our markets, we can say that we are quite European centric, but that said, historically we have a very strong position also in CIS. So Germany is by far our most important market. Russia we also feel very comfortable and home with. And then you see also some smaller countries that is probably not the core, what you would say in terms of consumer, but it's where we deliver material. So when you see on the list that we are selling to Morocco, Ukraine, and Tunisia, it's not because we have end consumers in these markets, it's because the brands we are selling to is actually manufacturing in these countries. So it's quite natural from that part. As I said earlier, today we are in Liepaja in Latvia, and this is the main base for Lauma, where its heritage, where it started, and where most of the people and the competence are. If you look at the group, we are a little bit spread out in Europe. So we are based here in Liepaja. We also have a larger location in Mannheim, Felina, where we were last year. And then also we have some garment manufacturing in Eastern Hungary, And then in southern parts of France, we have the e-commerce business that we acquired 1 year ago. For ELG, why we created this group was very simple. We wanted to be able to give the competence in lingerie in Europe. That's why we call European Lingerie Group. We also would like to give our customers and consumer solutions and not necessarily only materials or a piece of garment. Because whatever we say about the development in the market, our customers and the consumers are asking the question, why should I buy this from you? And the question why we need to answer the whole time. And why in our case is that we give a solution. And it can be that we give that to a brand who buy material from us, so we give a solution of supplying everything to them in one-stop shopping. It could be that we go to a retailer and offer them a private label solution because we have all the competence in-house from design, distribution, material to them. So for us, this is clear. It's an easy way to communicate, but we also see that is essential to succeed in the future. For you who have met us before and listened to us, there's nothing new here. The one-stop shop and the integrated company in lingerie makes us unique in the business. It also gives us a very stable platform for moving forward. That said, we should not try to avoid the questions that the market has been quite turmoil lately. Our prediction is it will continue to be quite volatile. And it's not that the need of female lingerie is decreasing. People still need a product. But the ways of distribution, the level of innovation, is dramatically changing the picture. And this change came to the apparel industry many years ago, but the lingerie has been a little bit conservative and protected. And for us, we actually like this. We think it's good because it means that the stronger players will survive. The ones with a bigger platform and a better competence will survive. And we think that is where we should be. If you then look into the details of this slide, is what we normally say that, yeah, we are a one-stop shop. We have a fairly strong and solid customer base. You have a good cash flow. Even if the market are changing and some of our customers are struggling quite a lot, I think we say we are growing, and it could be a little bit of an overstatement if you look to the last 5 years. And if you look to this last 6 months, we are slightly positive, and I think we will continue that. And especially if you listen to what Eddie's talk about later, that we are changing our product portfolio quite dramatically, both in garments, in brands, and in material, to make sure we can meet tomorrow's challenges, because they are not the same as yesterday. We're going from being quite traditional and classical to something more contemporary and more in line with time. But we'll come back to that a little bit more. Then we say we are a highly credible management team, and I appreciate that, but I'll let you judge that. And then roughly 2 years ago, when we founded ELG as a company, we took a decision in saying that Lauma and also Felina to some extent have been focusing on good customer relations, but not necessarily on blue chip companies, and said we would like to be a little bit stronger with the biggest players in the market, and not just to serve the small players on a daily basis. And that strategy starts to pay off dramatically. It gives us, of course, a better credibility, a better volume, and the bigger companies are more demanding in some extent, but we don't see an issue of meeting that. But that to balance our customer portfolio have paid off well, and we are quite satisfied with that strategy, and you will see much more of that coming sooner. I will not tell more than that, to be honest. And then, last but not least, if you look to our competitors and colleagues in the business, they all have competitive advantages or less good opportunities, but we feel extremely comfortable from our strategic point of view. We feel very comfortable of being one of the strongest brands in Europe. Germany is our main market. We have our main manufacturer in Eastern Hungary and Latvia that is very sustainable, both in terms of access to people, to competence, and the cost level is also better here than in Switzerland, Austria, or Germany, where most of our competitors are. So over a long period of time forward, we think that is a very good solution, and then something we would like to emphasize quite a lot. So we're investing a lot in new people, new ways in these locations to make sure we are sustainable here.
Sorry, what are your manufacturing operations in Germany?
Our manufacturing operations in Germany, I'm repeating the question for we actually have a few different operations in Germany. We have a brand base for Felina in Mannheim, where we have, Felina have historically been a Mannheim company, established 1885 in Mannheim. There we have our technical development, our quality, our finance administration, marketing, design, etc. And then we also have some manufacturing or business development in terms of Lauma, and it's in Wuppertal and Neukirchen, and it's from a company called Elastic that was bought into Lauma roughly 5 years ago. It's quite a small operations today, so it's mainly in smaller batches and very sophisticated material that requires a lot of innovation. So the overall operations is quite small. It's roughly a tenth of what it is here in Lauma. So Lauma is...
Including Felina and the development?
No, the manufacturing of materials is a tenth of this in Lauma, and Felina is maybe a fifth or something like that. And then we go to why are we an integrated group? ELG, as I said before, is European Lingerie Group. That is our focus, and that is what we like to do. If you look to some of our colleagues and what are the challenges ahead, we think there are two challenges that we need to meet in terms of our customers. One is speed to market. We can be much faster by having a main base in Latvia, in Eastern Hungary, and have our biggest consumers in Germany, France, and Spain, and Poland. And speed to market will have a huge impact in the future. When we talk to customers today, and they say they order, they're not developed, they don't do anything. They order 9 months ahead for a container from China. They can order from us and we can deliver it in 8 weeks. It means that we get a unique selling point that is completely different. And we are not all there yet, but that is definitely one of the purposes, to create a platform that we can actually deliver both material or design or all private labels or brands within a speed that no one else is, most cannot compete with. In a cost structure that is competitive. We should not forget that we all talk about how much production is going to Asia, etc. I don't think you see any production going to Asia anymore because their cost competitiveness is pretty on par with us when you take all accounts in. The second one is actually innovation. To be able to do material and garments, we need to be closer to our customers and consumers. We cannot sit today we are in a beautiful city in Liepaja next to the Baltic coast, but we have to admit we are not close to the end consumer and the trends in the market. We are quite far away from that. And to be able to be close to the end consumer and understand what are the needs, what are the developments, how is the future looking like, or at least predicting, that business development and innovation is crucial. And we can already see today that in this area, we see the biggest impact between Lauma and Felina, that you're able to specify products, needs, materials, distribution ways, etc., that we were not able to do before. So it gives us a competence and an expertise that very few have. So that is the full purpose of an integrated chain. And it's not really to say, okay, let's put together the finance and administration and save 0.2% in costs. No, we don't believe in that. Each company operates on its own basis. The synergies are there to some extent, but they are limited. Lauma's whole production is only 2.5% of that who goes to Felina, for example. That is our garment and brand. So we need to understand that it is not fully integrated or we're only providing to ourselves, but we're building a competence and a platform to be able to grow out of this. This is all I want to say generally about the group. I will come back and talk a little bit more about Felina and Dessous. But as we are in Lauma today, I would like to let Edis talk a little bit about Lauma and what's happening here and the development and what we are doing for the future. So I'll leave it to you, Edis.
Yes, thank you. A little bit preparing. So, good morning, everybody. My name is Edis Sept4. I am Managing Director of company Lauma Fabric. I work in this company more than 18 years now, and since last 6 years I am Managing Director of the company. I started as Sales Director, and then I became board member, and since last years I'm managing the company. So look at this picture from the top. You see that, let's start with the place and the building itself. You see this is a big building, 100,000 square meters where we are today, and all the factory is located there. Yeah? We are using about 70% of this building for ourselves, for production, and the rest we are mainly renting out to other companies. Location, it's excellent location. We are in Latvia, we are in the European Union, we are about 200 kilometers from Riga, so production costs are much less than in old Europe, much less than in Riga, yeah, and in terms of, at the same time, productivity level is high, so in terms of location. We are also in a special economic zone. Advantages of this we will explain later. Yeah? There are tax advantages of this, and whole company, all territory is in a special economic zone. At the moment in our factory works 460 people. About, plus minus, it's a bit changing every month, plus minus 5 people. And most of these people are working here for 20 years, for 25 years, and circulation of the people is very low, yeah, because we are orientated on long-term relationship with our employees, and our workers appreciate this. So once we start our relationship with employees, it's more long-term. So we invest in the people, we train them, and they are working here for many years. And yeah, about what we actually do, we are producing all kind of fabrics, laces for production of ladies' underwear. Yeah? Usually most of our competitors are specialized only in one group, whether laces, whether fabrics, whether narrows, whether molded cups, but we are quite unique, because actually I don't know second company like we who is doing everything, full set. And this excellent fit with what Peter say about this one-stop shop. So most of our customers buy from us full set. They come and they buy in one color, fabrics, laces, narrows, everything, and in terms of logistics is very easy, yeah, to handle. Second big advantage is that we are all the production processes happening in-house. We are designing, we are manufacturing, we are knitting, we are weaving, dyeing, and shipping out. Again, most of our competitors are doing only one of these operations, whether they knit, whether they dye, but we do under one roof everything. This said that all the processes are integrated, so we are fast, we are flexible, and our customers, most of our customers appreciate this. Company is 47 years old. So we have started our activities in Soviet time, and after Latvia get independence and European Union. So company have been going through the different times, yeah, privatization and different crises in Russia and so, but always Lauma found the ways to adapt to the new situation, yeah. And if you look in the market, then 47 years ago, everything Lauma sold to basically to CIS, because at that time Europe didn't, the European customers we didn't have. Today we are about 50-50. So we are, our customer portfolio is quite balanced. Yeah. So we are having this CIS historical customers. We are having European customers, and yeah, that's a result of being able to adapt to always a new situation. So, in terms of more than 80% of everything we produce, we export. Yeah, and in totally we have more than 200 customers underwear brands. Yeah, and if you look at and most of the underwear players, big underwear players in the market, they know Lauma. If you look 20 years ago, they didn't know. In Europe, they didn't know Lauma, but after 20 years of active participation in different fairs in Paris, in UK, everywhere we are going, we are becoming well known. And today, all the big names, all the underwear producers know Lauma fabric as stable, reliable fabric manufacturer. All the raw materials we are buying in Europe. Almost all in Europe, so that's why we can provide to our products high quality all the necessary certificates, and that's why all our products fits into this limitations of sustainability. Yeah, we'll speak later about the certificates. So company is. If you analyze historical data, company is financially stable and yeah, in different times adapting to the market situations. Now I want to little bit show you more detail at the products, and later on we go to innovations. Full set of materials. What does it mean? This means that to produce underwear, you need approximately 15 to 20 different components. Yeah? So shoulder straps, fabrics, rigids, narrows, hooks and eyes, and all these things. So this means that your customer need this in one color. And this is the biggest challenge for us to deliver to the customer in all the set in one color what customer is ordering. Elastic fabrics. Elastic fabrics is the biggest part of our if you go back to this products, fabrics is the biggest part of our product, and there are different gauges, different type of the fabrics, but the main movement, what I want to say here is that historically Lauma is doing quite classical look, functional fabrics, yeah, but if we look at thanks to the new investments what we are doing in last years, we are starting to do completely different high gauge fabric. For those who participate in this meeting who are presented here, you can touch the difference between these two fabrics, yeah, and let's say this is a new generation 40 or 50 gauge fabric, and this is 24 gauge fabric, so it's different class, different. We are still selling those, but if you look at the market trend, market demand more comfortable fabrics, more soft, and that's why we are investing. That's why we are investing a lot of money to be able to supply the future fabrics. Each of you can feel the difference, and you will understand what I'm speaking about. Second group is a lace group. Lace group is again is important. It's 11% of our business. What is lace? Lace is a band with different design on it, and we have this know-how. We know what type of designs buy in CIS, what type of designs prefer European. And there's no big secrets. I can share with you that in CIS they like flowers, they like contrasts, they like bright colors and all this stuff. And in Europe they like more geometric. That's let's take one example, and this is one of the easy examples. This is more European design, and this is more CIS type of design. And we have this competence in-house, and we know exactly what our customer needs. And for the moment, we are keeping this balance about 50-50. When we develop new collection, we adapt. So we say this amount we need for CIS, this amount for Europe. It's basically the same machines, but the designs itself this is what we are having this competence, and so you can also give around and have a look. Of course, the big challenge is to get this all in one color. So, narrows and shoulder straps. You cannot imagine any bra or brief without this product, and this is 15% of our business. That's important, yeah. Shoulder straps, narrows. If you look at this product group, transport costs is quite high because it's shipped out in the boxes. This means that most of the producers about 2,000 kilometers around us is working with our product, yeah, because for them to ship this product from somewhere else, it's very expensive. So then molded cups. Since last 6-7 years, a bit more, we are doing molded cups, which is also part of the underwear. Yeah, this is a product we are selling actually. Yeah, we have different pads, softer, very soft or less soft. But the point is here is that we started this business. We had a difficult start, but at the moment we are doing about €1 million turnover in this, and trend is there. We see that these molded cups are more and more demanded, and the latest thing is this spacer. Yeah, we invested in spacer molding machines beginning of this year, and actually this product we are producing for Felina. And Felina, historically they used to buy from Czech Republic. Now Felina is buying from Lauma Fabric this spacer molded cups, which is and we see that this product is increasing. Demand for this product is increasing. Why? Because it's soft, because it's breathing, it's comfortable. So you can have a look. Can you switch to investments, please? Yeah. Investments. The biggest thing what is happening. Okay, actually, before I speak about investments of this year, I want to highlight important timing was 2014, 2015, when we invested 6.4 million euros in dye house. And this was very important. And if you look today back, this was very important because without this big investment, probably we would not be at so healthy as we are today, because we invested in a dye house, and we are able today to produce high quality products for CIS, for European market, and our product and quality meets European standard. But this is a result of investments we did 2014 and 15. Now it's 2019, and we are going further, and we are investing in a big finishing machine. We call it Stenter. What it is, the total investments of this with all installation is about 1.5 million euros. It's a big investment for the company, but what it gives, number one, this improves quality significantly. What it means is that if we reduce second choice, we can sell more at first choice quality. That's one thing. Second thing is energy savings. This machine is 20-25% more effective than what we had in the past, which was 26 years old Stenters. So we will use less gas, electricity to get the same and different product. And the most important is that this machine, this equipment will give us possibility to produce products which we couldn't produce so far. And this, in my opinion, is the most important, because we see that that European market demands products, and we cannot manage them here in-house. We have a curling problem, we have snagging problem, and that's why in this machine, this is not, you cannot buy this in the market. Every element in this machine is specially built for us, and we used our competence from Germany. We put together all the know-how we have, and we ordered this machine, and all elements are specially made for us to be able to produce high functional fabrics which meet European trends. So that's a basis of this. By the way, physically, machine is this photo is made about 2 weeks ago. Physically, this week we start to run first meters. Okay, first weeks will be testing regime and so on, but anyway, all is done and we start just now. For your information, we ordered this machine a year ago. After 8 months we get it, 2 months we install it, so and just now all is connected and we just we start to run it. And we have a clear targets, which articles we will do and what we will give, and we will measure results, and we have all big not hopes but expectations, and I know that that our customers in Europe is waiting, and they are very appreciating that we did this. They are waiting the products which will come out of this equipment. That's about the Stentor. The
What are the new products?
Sorry?
What are the new products?
We are specialized in high control fabrics for in big sizes, because if we speak about underwear, the mid-size range is relatively easy to do, and we have big competition from Asia in this part. But if we speak about bigger size of underwear, then you need high control fabrics. No, if you speak about, and high control fabrics is quite challenging to do. It's not just you put, because you still need to be light but high functional, and to get this you have very often the curling problems, and this was what we couldn't do before, because visually you probably will not see the difference, but if you start to measure this modulus and all this was not possible before. A daughter company in Germany, they are doing this, but in Lauma we tried several times, we were not able to do this. So, but now we will be able to do this here, and that's answer, yeah. This photo is made a week ago, and at the moment we are installing new Rusheltronic machine. €500,000 is investment of this equipment. What it is? At the moment we have in Germany one machine in a group like this, Rusheltronic 32 gauge, but we have orders for 2 machines. And at the moment we are not able to do all the orders we have, yeah, and we are forced to say to the customer, sorry, we have limits, we work on weekends, we work on extra hours, like we work 24 hours, but we have more orders than we have, and that's why we decided to put a second machine in Latvia, yeah. One we have in Germany factory, one we will be in Latvia, and then because already my German colleagues are waiting when we will get this machine running. This week we finish installation and start to do the first meters. That's Rusheltronic.
You mentioned how much it costs, like, to understand the...
€500,000. This machine is €500,000.
So it's also expensive.
So this one is 1.2 is machine, and 300,000 was all the pipings and flooring and installation. So total investment of Stentor is 1.5 million. €500,000 is Rusheltronic, but this is clearly, Rusheltronic is clearly additional business, because at the moment we have one machine, but we have orders for 2. For your information, what is Rusheltronic? Just to explain.
We can show it on the picture.
Yeah,
This is
this you can see that on this picture. What is Rusheltronic? This is a fabric. This is a fabric with some design on it. Yeah, this is Rusheltronic. If you have a lace in the market, that lace is usually with holes, and lace is with holes like this, and the plain fabric is plain fabric, and Rusheltronic is something in the middle. Yeah, so you can do different lace machine is much faster. Sorry, that Rusheltronic is much faster than lace machines, because it's not Rushel. It's not. Yeah, it's much faster, and the end product is between the plain and the lace. I have some samples to show you how it looks, yeah, and this is already what we are producing in our German factory. So we have already orders on this type of design, and this Diana is showing where it's used. So if you go back, this picture is made 2 days ago. We are unloading at the moment new lace machine MG, and at the moment we have about 20 old generation lace machines, and very often we are not able on these old generation machines to do the products what customers need. So we have ordered and this is already delivered new lace machine called MG. Price of this machine is €500,000, 500,005, yeah. And yeah, that's already at the moment machine. For those who are participating, you will see physically where it stands, and so this means that at the moment you are in quite historical moment, because all these things are already there, and they start whether either in mid of September or end of September we come up with really new products and which we didn't have before. Next slide is something what is, if this previous slide was more about investments into the segment of underwear, then this slide is something where we enter into completely different, and this is circular. So far all machines we had were plain and walk knit. Yeah, and beginning of this year we invested in 2 circular machines, and basically this is a product where we can enter into the active wear, because so far we didn't have this. So far we all the time, all our customers was about underwear, but with this 50 gauge, which is a high gauge fabrics, we are entering into completely different segment. We have 2 machines, and which we invested in January or February. February we invested. At the moment 1.5 machine capacity is sold. So within so when we achieve the point when 2 machine capacity is sold, then we are discussing further. But we are very and with this product we approaching and completely different market and different level of customers. Yeah. I will give around. You can touch and feel the difference between this and those other articles, and you will really feel the difference. What is advantage here? It's clean cut. When you cut it, you don't need to put any narrow it, and this is functional and soft. And this. Again, this is not possible to do without stanter. So because this you need stanter, yeah, you need this, and then you can up. So at the moment, so these are the main points, main investments. We are very much and our customers are appreciating these things we are doing, and yeah, and it's a lot of money, but we are convinced that this will bring back results in the future. So for those who look carefully, you see that we have also product group medical. Yeah, medical is not really underwear. Yeah, and medical represents. Can you go back to the medical represents where it is 6% of the turnover. What it is? It is different medical products. It's different bandages, back supports, compression stockings. What we are selling under brand Lauma Medical. Yeah, you have seen this in pharmacies in Latvia that Lauma Medical bandages and bands are well presented, and this product we are exporting 90. Latvia is only 2-3% for us, so 97% of everything we produce we are selling to different export market. And what is advantage here that this is not business to business. In this case, Lauma Medical brand is well known. Yeah? We are one of the top, if you look at Russia and not only Russia, all CIS markets, the bandages used in these markets, we are always in top 3 brands. Stable market, the bestseller at the moment in the medical is this bandage. It's different width, different lengths, and all this is physically produced here. At the moment, we are separating Lauma medical brand out of underwear. Why? Because it's not really underwear, so it's separate. So we are physically separating this, and at the moment we have already registered company. We move production people and all other people which relate to the medical business to the new company. So it's still the same shareholder, the same group, but medical business is something different, and that's why we are doing this, because we want to develop this business further, and we see potential there.
I have a question regarding Lauma Medical. I think in previous calls you had some divestment ideas regarding Lauma Medical. Do you have still those ideas, or have this changed?
Yeah, that's correct. That it was. We tested the market to see if we should divest from this because it's not part of the core business. That said, Lauma Medical is actually one of our best performing categories we have, or the best performing area we have in the group. So we asked to be compensated for that, and we had a few offers, but they were not in line our expectations. We put it on hold right now. So in the meantime, we continue with the carve out of Lauma Medical, and we will actually strengthen the management team to make sure we continue to develop it. But strategically, we realized that we would like to focus on lingerie and material, and maybe not on Lauma Medical. But for now, it will stay in the group and as it continues.
But if there is a good offer, then?
If it's a good offer, everyone is welcome.
You used to have a division which was producing something like geotextiles. Is it wound down?
Yeah. Geotextile. We started this. This is not underwear. This is not Lauma. This is company Teletextile Latvia. We started this 5 years ago, 6 years, about 5 years ago. If you follow last 3 years, we are growing by 15% in this business. 99% export. We are quite happy with. We are producing. This is not Lauma. This is not Lauma fabric. This is Teletextile. Lauma is 50% shareholder of this. The product what we are producing is a heavy net, which is used mainly on the roads. Before you do the road, you put this on the ground, and this keep this road together. Yeah, biggest mark, and also separates different levels, layers of the ground. Biggest markets: Poland, Scandinavia, Norway. But this year we also started to work with completely new markets which we didn't have before. Like I say, 99% export, and we have a growing trend. Last 3 years we are growing trend there, and but this is not our core business. Our core business is underwear. Just like if you ask this question, I let you know. We have separate management. That's a small company, basically. Yes, we are active. This is subsidiary, yeah, but we have a separate people who are managing this, controlling this, reporting to us. But this is not clearly focus of this is not underwear. This is not focus of the core business. Like Peter say, market is really changing, and I can compare with in my 18 years experience that market is changing faster than we all really expected, and a big effect is coming from internet sales, because internet sales is growing. New players come to the market. In internet you need different products, you need visually attractive, you need very quick deliveries, and I mean it's completely different priorities come into the first place. And all what we do in Lauma with investments, with training the people, with preparing, is to be able to adapt to this market change tomorrow, yeah, because market is really changing, and we see that Peter spoke about this important customers. What we see that big customers, strong customers become bigger and stronger. Some small ones are getting weaker or disappearing at all. So we are in a business focusing on these of these important and growing one. And following, we are discussing, we are what do they expect from us, and keeping really focus on these important. We are really building the partnership, because that's the only way to survive in the future. Yeah, because it's not about being cheapest, this is about really partnership, and when you grow together. Because before we did this investment, we seriously discussed with all the important. Is it really what you need? Is it really what you? Of course, we cannot get written commitments. Yeah, but from experience and discussions and all this, we see that that's the right thing. And if you look back, all the investments we have done so far was right, and Diehouse what we did, and this brings us into the different level. Yeah, that's basically is. Any questions maybe?
So you have very different kind of products. You said it's basically your strategic advantage. You have different products in one place, what you can produce in one place. But then how much of the customers actually buy like all of the products or most of the products? Do you have any kind of statistics regarding that?
I would say roughly half of the all customers are buying full set from us, and yeah.
Thank you.
Okay, thank you.
I think it's important to notice just what Eddie said here, that the market are changing. And I said initially that the number of pieces of female underwear is flat in Europe. The distribution ways are changing. But if you look to some of these new technologies, that's actually where the growth is. So if you look to active wear, it's been an average growth of 8.7% in Europe the last 5 years. And we see that continuing. So it is not only about growing with our customers and being innovative, it's also to follow the market to make sure that we can supply the areas that we see the growth and the future. And when it comes to the investment and capex that Edis was talking about, from a pure financial and operational point of view, we will actually see some gross margin improvements coming here in fourth quarter due to this, because as stated, we can reduce the second choice or not 100% quality quite dramatically. We can deliver some qualities to charge some extra that we couldn't do before. So it will actually start paying back almost immediately, not only in terms of the cost saving or so positive sales, but also in terms of margin that it helps. I will now take a few words about the brands and the distribution. As you all know, since 2 years, Felina is part of ELG Group, and Felina have historically 2 brands. One is Felina, one is Conturel. Felina is a more classical and mature concept, and Conturel is a little bit younger, more fashionable, more sexy, as you can say that. They are both premium brands. They're not luxury, but they're on the board of luxury. And that gives us, I think, a good opportunity in the market. If we look to Felina and Conturel and the market in premium lingerie, why we like this. One is you have healthy margins. The competition is limited because the integrated brands cannot compete with us in terms of quality, fit, feeling, etc. And the integrated brand, I mean CNA, H&M, etc. They don't make sizes that is larger than a D, or they only do small, medium, and large. We can do up to 100 sizes in one style. That requires quite a great deal of know-how and understanding, but it also gives us new ways of distribution, and you can of course also charge our customer for this know-how. So we feel quite comfortable with that, and also if you look to the strategy from Lauma saying that yes, our material cannot be the most simplest. It needs to give some performance. It needs to solve some problems. So it needs to have a stretch, it needs to have a physical push or pull, and that applies also for Felina and Contrell. But lately we have actually started a new brand, and that is Sencell. We spoke about it a little bit last year when we launched it early this year. Sencell is a brand to compete mainly in CIS. We see in CIS the purchasing power have been deteriorating the last couple of years, and we saw that we need to be able to have an entry product in these markets. The reception on the market have been very positive. We were quite bullish on the volumes also from the beginning, and I think we will fulfill them to quite a good extent. And in this strategy, we also acquired earlier this year, if you remember, early January, there was a small notice. We bought a small sewing facility outside Minsk, and it also gives us a competitive edge towards a lot of other brands, because we would like to manufacture inside the custom union of Belarus, Russia, and Kazakhstan. So I think we're preparing to have a little bit of a different offering in different markets. The reception of Sencell has actually been very positive and something we're looking forward to the coming years. If you look to Felina and Contrell and the challenges in Europe, and I think we've been quite consequent the last year and a half, describing that Europe is changing quite a lot, and especially the distribution, that a lot of the small independent stores is struggling. And that continues. Unfortunately, we don't see a market situation where the independent stores can continue to be in the same numbers as they are today. 2018, 8.5% of all lingerie stores in France closed. They didn't reduce their orders or anything like that. They closed the door. It comes out to two reasons. One is there's a generational shift. When you had a lingerie store as a lifestyle for 30 years, the children doesn't normally want to take over this. They have moved on to something else. And secondly, of course, the profitability of these are limited because there is a new way of distributing in terms of online that's eating away their market quite dramatically. So there is a challenging situation in Europe. Overall sales in number of pieces, as I said before, it's flat. And I think we are addressing the challenges, but it's not always that we can compete and say we can compare new ways of distribution with old ways and they match quarter by quarter. But on a volume basis over a 1 year period, we look quite okay. If you then look into our core markets and the outlook, how it's looking, I think we're quite lucky that there is not one market that is super important for us. Of course, we are centric around Germany, and that's good. We also see that CIS is doing very well on the garment side, so it's increasing very healthy this year. And in a few years, I think you will see new home markets that we can call where we are very strong will be Spain and Poland. So I think the development looks very good. The portfolio looks good also. But it's not without challenges in the future, to be frank. If you look into what is there is some future opportunities, I think, in this market, and we haven't spoken too much about it, but we are working a lot in the whole company with what is a sustainable production, what is a sustainable product, and how does it look for the customer and the end consumer. And I don't claim to have the right answer. But from a production point of view, we are looking into that in detail and make sure we reduce our footprint. We take the question internally to say, okay, what is sustainability? Is that, people talk about cotton, organic cotton. It's great that it's organic. it's less good that it takes 600 to 700 liters of water to produce 1 kilo of cotton, organic or not. And if we can then produce something with 0 or 1 liter of water, is for us a good alternative. So we're looking into that, but in the consumer market, there starts to come now a demand for sustainable products in terms of underwear. Maybe not necessarily recycled as you would see in shoes or some other areas, but it could be biodegradable or something like that. So within not too long distance future, you will see some product coming to the market that have a completely different footprint and sustainable alternative than today. Because we don't believe that we can give a product that has less of a performance or less of a support. It needs to match what we are today, and that requires quite a lot of development and know-how. But we will get there for sure.
Regarding sustainability, do you also measure like how much water do you use right now? What is the efficiency there?
Yes.
You do that?
Yes, and you have to wait for the sustainability report that will come out during the autumn to see that, and there we will compare and say where are we today, what is the target, and then you can follow year by year and seeing what is our development. So in general, I think we are in a good place, but that said, we all need to look and see how do we decrease our footprint and our impact on things. But we will describe in quite detail by and say, okay, where are we today? What are the actions we are actually planning to do? And both from a consumer point of view and also from a pure production point of view, and making sure we don't minimize the release of water to the cleaning facilities, or that we use solar panels in our sewing facilities in Hungary, etc. And it is we don't see that as a risk, rather as an opportunity to explain what we're doing and where we are. And historically, I think textile has been an industry that not always been completely transparent with whether you will see in the autumn and in the winter.
Just out of curiosity, do you have some specific guidelines how you do it, or it's?
Yes. It will be comparables, so to speak. So we will set the target and we will see how we move forward, etc. Yeah. Exactly 1 year ago, last summer, we made an acquisition of e-commerce business in France. It's the market leader of lingerie sales in France. Been around, we actually celebrate 20 years online and 29 years as a company this year. It's called Dessous. Please go online and check it out. A lot of inspiring news there. Dessous is the strategy behind Dessous was very simple. We are here in Liepaja today. We spoke about Feline and Contrel. We can say easily that we were a quite analog and offline company. And if we see to how to integrate the group and the knowledge and how to leverage that, we need to have a competence center, we need to have a platform, and we need to have a general know-how of the e-commerce. And we took the decision that it is less risky and more profitable to buy someone who actually done it for 20 years than trying trial and error and do it ourselves. So we didn't want to do an online business with offline people. Dessous is a multi-brand platform, so they don't only sell our product, they sell all products. And actually, our products is probably 1.4% of the turnover of Dessous. It's increasing. Last year it was 0.5. But that is not the reason. We didn't buy a distribution platform for our own brand. If you look to Feline and Contrel, they have 5,000 points of sales. 50 of them will only be online. So we will also sell to the worst competitors of Dessous. So for us, it's not really to buy our own distribution, it's to buy the know-how, to buy the understanding and the platform. The markets have been challenging for Dessous, especially in France, not only for us, but for everyone. And we see that have stabilized, but the first 6 months was, I have to say, was quite rough. And was mainly due to some brands' failure to deliver. Some of our biggest brands that we deliver couldn't provide us with the merchandise that's needed. If you look to international market, we have started to grow that significantly. So it went from a small niche to roughly a third of the business. And when we're sitting here 1 year from today, you will see that will be a majority of the business. So today we have the website in French and .com in English. And you will see within middle of next year we will launch a third market or a third language in that sense to make sure we capture the whole European market. Because Dessous have a unique offer. It's the e-commerce player in Europe who can offer fashion in our industry. If you look to everyone else, they will say, oh, we offer the classical that is here for 10 years and nothing else. But Dessous is actually known for offering the fashion and have a know-how and understanding how to do that. And that is actually the only one who has this competence, I would say, in Europe today. So in general, we are very happy with what we're doing there. We see a stabilized environment going forward, and next year we see what could be a healthy outlook for new markets there. That's all I wanted to speak about when it comes to the brands, Felina and Contrel, Sancel, and then also Dessous. A couple of weeks ago, we also delivered the 6 months results, so I will ask Diana to go through and say how is the performance looking like and what can we expect the coming 6 months or what we cannot expect.
Thank you, Peter. Previously, both Peter and Edis, I would say, spoke about initiatives, developments, good things, and everybody is expecting that there is a big profit. Unfortunately, in Excel it works. In real life, it's like we see, we develop, we invest. In sales, we start seeing these returns and volumes are growing. But because all these developments also need investments in costs and customer mix is changing, that small customers are dying, but bigger ones are growing with us. And of course, bigger customers have better prices. Therefore, this gross margin for us is slightly lower. There is bigger potential for volumes, but of course, in the short term, it's not like profit is not replicating sales development. I will maybe summary very quickly. Most of these things have been told already. This bond listing, when we issued the bond, we promised to our bondholders that we should list the bond. This is a technical procedure, not very complicated, but it takes time. We are proud that we did what we promised to our bondholders, so that tick mark is done. Then, as Peter said, in January this year, we acquired a small sewing factory in Belarus. This is completely in line with our strategy and in line with our recently introduced brand Sancel by Felina. Initially, the purchase is a small purchase, small factory, but we are expanding it. We are expanding it with volumes on Sancel, and we are expanding it with volumes for supply chain management and private label sewing, and there is potential for that. Omni-channel strategy implementation. In the previous presentations, we mentioned a lot about ideas how to make the future company. this omni-channel strategy is still an important to be a healthy and good player 5 or 10 years from now. We have made all the preparatory work for that project, but currently we understood that we need external financing to be able to finalize its implementation. So for the moment that project is put on hold. We are looking for financing, and if we have one, then we will start it, because we still believe that this is the right project to go on. But in the short term, we have so many things and new things what we have, and number of people is what we have. So we need to make priorities. Medical business separation, Edis already mentioned that we separated. It's not a big thing. Nothing changed in the results. It's still like one company became one small and one big. But because that business is completely different distribution channels, completely different customers, and therefore we understood that we can't run it as one of the departments of Lauma. If we have separate people, if we want to develop it like significantly, then these people should concentrate only on that particular business. And investments, you also heard a lot about investments. Of course, maybe when people see how much money we invested, it's a lot. It's a big part of the profit. But when you compare total number of machines, in Lauma it's 250 different machineries, and we bought 5 new machines. So it's like not a lot, but Lauma Fabrics is a very, very capital intensive business, and each machine is very expensive, but we believe that the strategy is right, and in the short term, yes, we suffer because we have to pay money for that, but you need to wait, and the results will come, definitely.
Could you maybe comment a little bit on your planned investments in the Belarus factory?
In the Belarus factory this year we invested around 100,000 euros, but if you compare fabrics manufacturing and ready garments manufacturing, then fabrics manufacturing is to a large extent very, very capital intensive. With each machinery, one machine costs roughly 500,000. In sewing, equipment is basically sewing machines, and one sewing machine can cost from 1,000 to 3,000 euros maximum. So it's like, in sewing operations, it's a labor-intensive business, so the success is based on how many sewers you have and how efficient they will sew.
Sorry, as far as I understand, the capital expenses in the months to come, in the second half, will remain at the same level as in the first half?
No, main of the payments and expenses were done in the first half. So in the second half it's just July and August where the remaining 500,000 was left to pay, but then that's it. Then going forward we have only normal capital repairs, because it's some machines are old, they from time to time need to be repaired, but that's all. We will not have any major investments in the next 6 months or 12 months. Of course, there is every year there is a need for some capital repairs, and for Lauma it's around 500,000 a year. That will stay, but in new technology and new investments, this will be 4 or 5 times lower amount than we spent this year and last year.
And what's the view on the labor force? Do you have any problems with finding new people, or you're not really expanding labor-wise?
When we go to the company tour, you will be very surprised that you will not see many people there. It's like, it's mainly machinery. Even if Eddies say 450 people, it's like one person operates up to 10 machines. Yeah, and then, yes, of course, 3 shifts. Of course, whole Latvia says that there is problem with labor force, and we feel that people want salary increases, but our biggest benefit is that we are not in Riga. And that average age of our employees is 40-50 years, so this is not 20-30 year people who are ready to go to Riga or who are ready to go abroad.
But something what can be added to this is that in the garment production it's the opposite. We are extremely dependent on labor force, and that's why we're also searching ourselves out into areas where you normally wouldn't go. We would not put our sales office in Minsk, for example, or our quality control, but to be able to get sustainable accessibility to sewing people, absolutely would do that. Or Eastern Hungary, etc. We're looking to some other markets that would not be the normal choice for people to find competence. So we need to go both ways. So we automate quite a lot within the manufacturing, and then we need to search ourselves where we go, where we find the people, literally.
So then maybe a few words about the results. You probably all read the results, what we released. This year in revenue in Q1 it was better because we launched the swimwear series, which is being delivered usually in March or February. Now in the second quarter we are flat with revenue. On 6 months level there is still slight growth. In EBITDA for the 6 months we also flat. And as I mentioned, of course, if you look that revenue grew by 1.5 million in the 6 months, why profit didn't grow by 1 million? But the fact that the product mix is changing, customer mix is changing, we are now getting more volume from bigger customers which have better prices. And also product mix, customers are not buying any more big volumes of one particular material in one color. Everybody's volumes are reducing, so maybe they need, instead of 10 materials, they need the volume may be the same in number of meters, but instead of 10 materials, this will be now 100 materials. So complexity is increasing significantly. Therefore, even if it's maybe achievable to achieve volumes, margins and margin pressure is big. And as Peter also mentioned, the fact that in the whole Europe retail system is transforming and small stores are closing, and in the past these small stores were the most profitable customers for us. So it's like it takes time for them. They close today, but for another customer of us to pick up their volumes, it takes time. And we believe that returns will come, and now we are very, very close for the returns to come. We have invested work and money and our effort in all of this for the last 2 years. So it's like now we expect the result to follow.
Of course, we realize that if you look from a purely financial point of view, and if you look historically, from 2 years ago when we started the group until today, the performance have not always been what we wished for. As Diana is saying, that we actually need to put a hold on some of the developments and find some partners, both from a financial point of view, but also from a know-how point of view, to make sure that we focus on our balance sheet and our P&L. That said, I think we've laid a foundation to something very good moving forward. I'll speak about some initiatives we're looking at, and opportunities. But if you just think about the opportunities we have, what we've spoken so far, I think is dramatic. It is actually roughly 15% of what we will sell, 15 to 20% of what we will sell next year, we didn't have last year. So we are changing the product portfolio to something more modern, more competitive, but it also gives an opportunity to charge a premium for that. So I think it looks quite good. That said, of course, the future is not without challenges, absolutely not. But I normally say we feel fairly comfortable where we are, but not without the pressure to improve. If you see the first 6 months result, I don't think you will see any dramatic changes the coming 6 months or the coming year. We have invested in equipment and processes, so we will be a little bit more efficient. There is a margin pressure in general in the industry. I think we're compensating with that with productivity increases. So the capex you see, for example, will have a quite good productivity increase, but it's a little bit offset by reducing margin. But still, we don't change our outlook for any gross margin for the overall company. We think we will be stable there. And so. It's a lot to do, but in the same time, I think we are in a very good position if you look in the market. We have spoken about the last year. There is some initiatives that we are looking at, but to be completely frank, we also need to put them a little bit on hold until we strengthen the balance sheet. But I will just mention them so you're fully aware and updated what it is. We have an omni-channel project, a marketplace for lingerie. We have 5,000 points of sales for brands out that we have a daily contact with. We can use this know-how, these contacts, to create a marketplace for lingerie in Europe. I think we're in a unique position to do that. Once again, it's not unique for only our products and brands. It's actually brand neutral, so we will sell our competitors as long as ours also. And I think that is important to remember. You know, a lot of people ask us, say, "Oh, is it a problem that you have Felina who compete with Triumph and Wacoal, etc.?" But we are producing for them here. No, it's not a problem. Everybody understands that it's an integrated network, and the industry is not that huge, so you can't afford to be completely unique. So it's not a problem per se. So we like that environment, and we understand how to make most out of it. So if you look to the omni-channel, we hope to find a partner to do that and present that during the winter. We have made a platform that we think, and a commercial concept that is fairly unique. We have some unique selling points that is fantastic, and we also used a lot of the know-how and knowledge and historic data that we have from the zoo. So I think that is something quite good. What you will though see from the normal business in line is actually what we haven't spoken so much about, but what I think is important. We say SCM, supply chain management. It literally means that we solve a problem for our customers. So our customers come to us and to Eddie's and say, "Yeah, we need all the material for one product." but can't you put it together for us also? So with our new acquisition in Minsk, we have the possibility also to increase the number of private label and special products made for our customers. So that means that the growth from Lauma, more than 50% of the growth going forward the coming 3 years will actually come from private label product that we make directly to retailers in Europe. This is part of our core business, part of our know-how, and exactly where we should be. Because if you look to the big retailers today, their lead times is just incredible compared to what we can offer. We can offer a good product to the same price, but with a lead time that is a quarter of what they get from Asia. So there you will see quite a lot of going forward. And Eddie's also spoke about what the product portfolio means when we're going to active wear. I think there you will see the biggest impact in the future. In active, it's a newer industry, it's much younger, and it's much fewer players. So if you look at lingerie, there is maybe 300-400 lingerie companies in Europe, but active wear will be very few. So I think these are the main activities you will see going forward. We have also spoken about some other initiative, but I think we need to say they are put on hold until early next year, because we focus this year on putting up the capex and getting the productivity out of that. All the material and everything we've showed you today will be available online, so you can download everything. If you have any questions, you can still submit them online, and we will come back to you and answer you on email. Otherwise, I think this is everything we have today. Is there any other questions?
Could you maybe talk about your view on e-commerce? You acquired the Dessous, but do you think that they are, like, let's say, good enough? But are their know-how good enough to expand in the whole Europe? Because as I understand, they are right now mostly selling in France.
Are Dessous good enough to sell in the whole Europe? Short answer is yes. Next question. No, but to be completely frank, for us as a brand, Boardfelina, Contrell and Sincel, if we sell to a small independent store, to a department store, an online retailer, it's more or less the same. So it's not a huge difference. When it comes to the retailers, they of course have a different profile. As I said, Dessous is today, I think, the fourth largest e-commerce site in Europe in pure lingerie. And we see quite good opportunity in the rest of Europe, and not necessarily only in Europe. There's a few markets that's close to Europe that is where competition is extremely limited, we can call it that. I don't want to disclose where, but you have to guess yourself. And where we see quite good opportunities. And with the profile that Dessous have, no one in our industry have a higher average ticket than us. No one is able to sell fashion the way we are. And if we can continue to use that, yes, we can compete in all over Europe, because we are not depending on pricing always. Because e-commerce in general is quite a lot of pricing initiatives, unfortunately. But I think we can steer away a little bit from that, and you will see that we will go away more and more from the price competition and go into more of content and delivering some good advice to our consumers.
Regarding also the Dessous, is it like operating as a separate business, or you're integrating it in the group altogether?
It's operating like a separate business. All our companies operate like a separate business. So Isabelle, who is the managing director, operates her own business, her own management team, her own business plan. But of course, we are closely integrated in terms of both in terms of revenues and also in terms of risk. But it's not an operational integration, because integrate an e-commerce outside Montpellier together with Lauma and Liepaja doesn't really make sense, to be honest.
I have a question concerning your debt load. You have comparatively large leverage. comparatively high leverage as of roughly 4 times EBITDA, and most of it is represented. Most of your debt load is represented by a bond maturing in 2 years.
Mm-hmm.
What's your plans for financing it?
Good question. To repeat the questions, what is our plan to refinance the bond in 1.5 years? It is 21 in February, if I remember right, and it's 40 million to be refinanced. It is painful true that we're working very close to the incurrence test of what we promised in the bond terms. We are fully aware of it. We talk about it weekly and we monitor it and make sure that we keep it on the right side. And of course we see a risk that if something goes wrong in one quarter that we can step over. We don't see a risk in not paying the bond, but I would say we are extremely focused on making sure we reduce our leverage. And next year you will see, I think, a huge improvement. The refinancing per se, there is different alternatives. The bond market was very beneficial for us as a group, as a structure, because if you see that we are in Liepaja, we are in Mannheim, we are in Wuppertal, we are in Segalom in Hungary and Montpellier in France, there is no bank who would like to take that. Ask them, some of them are here. That means that the bond structure is very, very, very suitable for us. So we will probably go to the bond market again to see how to refinance that. So to answer your question, do I have something in my back pocket saying this is the solution? No, we haven't checked yet. It's 1.5 years to that. Do we have eyes on the ball and focus on this on a weekly and monthly and quarterly basis? Absolutely. We talk about and see what is our alternatives. And we see there are alternatives in the market and players we speak to. So I'm not worried per se. But that said, you never know how the bond market or debt market look like at that time. So of course we need to make sure we are prepared for it. On a second note, I think you understand the context what we are speaking about here, and as we also said that Lauma Medical was a potential sales candidate historically. The reason to do that was of course to strengthen the balance sheet and reduce the bond. And we will now look to see how can we find other ways to actually go on the growth path we want to. So we probably will look for some additional equity to do that. It's not to do our current business, what we do here, it's fine, we can do that. But if we want to be part of the development and make sure we're on the right side and being a growing structure going forward, we cannot do that on our own. We need additional support in terms of equity.
Do you expect your EBITDA or your free cash flow growing significantly in, say, 1.5 years?
Short answer is yes.
You have made very significant investments, and it would be logical to expect a return, some return from.
So the question is, do we expect a high degree of free cash flow during next year? Short answer is yes. We don't plan to buy a new stentor. It's the big iron, you will see it downstairs. It will last for another 25 years, the one we just bought. No. And you're right. The capex this year was a little bit more mainly driven by the business that Ed has described. That orders looks very good. We're getting in, and to be able to fulfill that and to be a partner to our large customers, this was necessary. We don't see the same need next year. We can't say. Unfortunately, we would be super happy, especially Diana, and said if we could invest capex on a straight line every quarter. But unfortunately, the customer doesn't really see it that way. So next year, the free cash flow will be significantly better, and not only from reduced capex investment, but also from some working capital initiatives we do. So we have a program in the company now to increase the net working capital turn quite dramatically. In Lauma it's very good because it's a capital intensive business in terms of investment in capexes. And the net working capital on an operational basis is very efficient. But the challenge is of course in the brand with Felina to make sure that you have a stock, but it's not too much of a stock. But it's enough to sell what you actually get orders from. And there, with all the new products we launched this spring, the working capital have gone up slightly. And we will see how we can make that more efficient and actually reduce. And the answer to that is reducing the lead times of production so you can get it faster out to the market. So both in terms of working capital and less capex need, yes.
And concerning the financing once again, this year there was some increase in the outstanding balance of overdraft facility. Is it related to increase in working capital?
Yes, this is purely increase in working capital because supply, for example, to talk with customers, please start paying faster so that we can finance it. We understand that there is a limit, quite limit, because all other customers have their needs, etc. With suppliers, and especially with Western European suppliers, even if they probably some have opportunity, they simply will not go for it. And most of them, companies and our competitors and suppliers, are not making the level of profit we are making, so they don't have the possibility. Therefore, the only option is through utilizing more overdraft facility.
Correct.
Thank you.
Any other questions?
And especially, I would add also, for example, the swimwear. We produce swimwear in Far East, and Far East production is always you pay on delivery, but we need to order the whole season's collection at once, which comes in January. We need to pay for it in January. Then we sell it to customers, and our customers start selling it, and they have 60 to 90 days payment term. So it's a seasonal product with production and suppliers who don't allow credit terms.
And to be extremely concrete, what Diana is saying about swimwear. Yesterday we sent the order for next year's swimwear. It means tomorrow we need to prepay some of it to be produced. So there is quite a lot of working capital needed. That said, it's a healthy business. It's quite profitable because you get one shipment, you ship it out, you send the invoice. And it's not the product that we produce on fashion or speculation. We only produce on orders. So if we have selling orders today of 31,250, we order 31,350, something like that. So it is not a risk per se or anything like that. It's more of a KPI and a working capital issue. Any other questions?
No microphone.
Okay, we can take a question in a minute.
What I want to say regarding this investment, because you asked, we are doing heavy investments and we will see next year significant improvement. Part of investments go as additional business, and part of the investments go as replacement of old one. As Diana mentioned, that Lauma fabric is very capital intensive, and if we will not invest, we will see slight reduction of profit, and that's why it's kind of sorry. reduction of profit. So this means that it looks like machines get older and profit reduced. So it's partly replacement, partly additional. And we see already in our product mix that we are starting to lose some old articles, and we need to replace them with new, modern, what market demands. And that's why if we don't do this now, probably after year 2 or 3, it's too late already, because train is gone already. That's why Rasheltronic, that's why circular, that's why to follow the market trend. Yeah, and yeah, that's what I just wanted to add to your previous question.
Yeah, I had regarding the EBITDA margin, and around a year ago we mentioned that over a business cycle it's like 16-17%, a normal margin. But now it's not.
It's less.
Near to that, to be
Yeah.
kind of nice. So how do you see this development there, as this quarter actually is like one of the worst ones? Even though before there was a slight trend.
No, you're completely right. Do I see over a business cycle that we can sustain business margin of 16-17%? Yes, I believe so. I think we have a few initiatives in the group to take us back to that. I don't like to comment much more than that, because it's I put it like this. Our business should have a sustainable business margin of 16-70%. There could be some peaks that is slightly above that. Can be some valleys where we are today. But to get to 16-17%, we also need to be much more focused and a little bit slimmer and more efficient than today. And we have a program that will get us back to that. But I would like to come back to that question when it's more timely, so to speak. Any other questions? Thank you for today. For you who are listening in online, the presentation is available to download. You can still submit questions. And as usual, we in the management, we try to be as transparent as possible and answer all your questions. So you're always welcome. For you here, great to have you here. I hope you will also enjoy a tour of the facilities and see what we are doing on a daily basis. It's very educational if you haven't been here before. So thank you for today, and thank you for coming.